High vibration, sweet baby. So I originally shuffled these cards and pulled more than a few, and I was feeling into it, and then I kind of was like, maybe not. And then I had a couple symbols come out that really represent divine union, or dare I say, a twin flame journey. I don't want to be that guy. I don't like to speak on not taboo, trendy topics. I think right now there's like a whole fascination with the idea of twin flames. It's not that I'm against it. I think it's a beautiful ideology. I think it's a beautiful path to follow, to live your life with purpose in order to call in a very soul-aligned partner. That's beautiful if that's your journey. It requires a lot of loyalty. It means that the depth of the connection feels like that of a best friend, and it feels really powerful and purposeful. So it's not a surprise to me that so many people are drawn to this. I think, like a lot of things in spirituality, it becomes a little diluted from its original meanings, practices, purposes, whatever. So 2:22 on the time when I'm recording this. But I do think there is something to it. I think that whether it's trendy or not, it really doesn't completely devalue the idea behind it. So that's my little precursor about my beliefs on twin flames. I think it's very difficult to find like very grounded information and thoughts on the subject. However, what I'm seeing here in the cards is somebody who you feel very, very powerfully for, someone you are on some kind of journey with. And I'm going to be honest with you, whether this is your quote-unquote twin flame or not is something that only I think you could really decide for yourself. But what I've come to decide for my own self over the years is that your twin flame is whoever you decide is your twin flame, is the person you decide to show up for, decide to heal for, decide to face your fears. I've been seeing a lot of like in my area of Instagram, of course, the algorithm is throwing all these videos of like, no, I won't die for you, but I will go to therapy, I'll heal my wounds, I'll make sure I don't project, I will, all these beautiful things. And that to me is a decision to be in union, a decision to not only be in union with your full self and understand your full self so that you can really show up for and care for the people around you in a beautiful, powerful, and intentional way, but it also then brings you into a really beautiful and harmonious union with your partner. This is something that I do feel like is very important for you, and I do feel like this is something you're intentionally trying to manifest in your life. There's a lot to this reading, and I think the fact that my instinctive reaction was kind of like, do I read on this? Do I feel into this? I might pull back. Like, I'm not going to do it. There's information in that. Like, there's wisdom in my body feeling that. So that might be how you're approaching the situation. You may also be very distracted at this time. There might be a lot of things taking up your mental energy or just your focus in general. Or you might intentionally be keeping your head in the clouds a bit so you don't actually have to maybe face how you're feeling in the situation or face some certain things that need to be handled or done. I will say that the energy of this reading feels very present tense. And what I mean by that is like, this is how you're feeling in the current moment whenever you're listening to this. This isn't something you're necessarily thinking back on, although I do think you might be reflecting on some things. This could be community, friendships, best friend, partner of some kind. The cards here aren't directly just saying like a romantic relationship. What I do see though in the cards is a very powerful relationship, a divine union. It literally says it right here. Yin yang, commitment, serious. This is something that was was something, right? Because it's like you're feeling this in the present moment of like, this is something that's not, it can't just be deduced to a romantic relationship. I think you're understanding maybe the depth and the weight of this connection. There was like a lot of soul recognition is the way I'm trying to really be open to what wants to come through with this reading, because like I said, I was really just feeling into this. I don't know. It was almost like an imposter syndrome of like, I don't know if I'm qualified to read my own oracle cards. Yeah. To me, what this is really giving is like white picket fence, house and kids, like the very traditional life. And maybe that was kind of unnerving and felt a little bit disruptive to your nervous system, because maybe that's not really where you came from, and maybe you believed that that's not something that you could really actually have. But it was something that you were kind of metamorphosizing into and calling in, manifesting in, and it feels like, like almost an imposter syndrome is kind of showing up around this. Angel numbers, different synchronicities are going to be showing up for you at this time. Something significant about the spot, like a spot being significant. 12, 12, 11, 11, and 27 are absolutely significant for this reading. 57, 67, 657, interesting. So I think that you've been doing a lot of work on yourself in some way, some form, whether this is like material things that you're trying to secure for yourself, or maybe you're trying to do some like inner healing, call in some like intimacy, create opportunities for yourself. I just feel like you're very focused on doing well for yourself and giving yourself a kind of boundaries around what you deserve and your self-love and what you're worth. And while you've been doing this kind of work, it's sort of, I think, opened doors for you mentally on how you have looked at things in the past, or how you have called things in or maybe acted in ways in the past. And it just feels as though you're realizing that you may have took some dicey chances. You might have even gambled away opportunities. I'm seeing that finances may be significant here, but I just feel like this is more so you recognizing just some of the value of certain things in your life. Maybe you don't always act in accordance to those things. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but it's just like you value things in the moment, and then when you are away from the situation, you're like, oh wow, actually, like I should have maybe treated that a little bit better, or I could have valued that a little bit more, or that was actually a really beautiful opportunity. That was such a great chance. Like I had such a good chance to that. And I feel as though you're very hopeful around some of the things that you are calling in. I think you feel like there's this energy of a door being opened. think you're starting to feel into the idea of taking more calculated risks and understanding that really when it comes to, there's like that song, don't gamble with love. Don't gamble with love. What's the next word? Oh, fool. That's been coming up. Fool. Oh, and that's that song. I'm a fool to want you. I'm a fool to... Yeah. So there's just this energy here, like almost being a little, I'm just going to say it, a little foolish with the things that you value, the things that you wanted, or maybe like foolish ways of thinking or foolish ways of holding space for some of these things in your life. Because I'm going to say what I was saying in the card is like, there was a moment in your life when you didn't actually realize that you were worth it, or that you could actually attain those things, or you just didn't see the value or whatever. There was just some kind of misalignment going on there. And now with the healing and the recovery of the things that you're addressing, there could be things that were repressed, different fears. It could have something to do with mother wounds. And it could also be like this energy of sneaky secrets, deceptive. I think right now you're doing a lot of healing. You may even be feeling deja vu, which is very common when you're healing complex, like interpersonal type trauma stuff. So yeah, I think you're now just having this very like hindsight 2020 looking back moment in this current moment where you're like, oh, okay, like certain things really are worth the risk, but I was just being too risky. I gambled away things that actually did have really good value, things that were serious, maybe in the name of fun, maybe because being easily distracted, maybe because of a little overconfidence in how easy it is to call in specific opportunities. And you always have this hopeful feeling like there's going to be a door opening for you, like this whole mindset of when one door closes, another one opens. But I think you're understanding now that life's a little bit more serious than that. Like, it's more about doing your best to keep a specific door open instead of constantly slamming them shut and trying to open one another. I feel like Scooby-Doo cartoon is like coming up for me. And I think that came up in another reading too. It's like, or on this one song, like this is not a revolving door. You can't just walk out of my life and then walk back in. It's like, think about this. You might truly, in your heart of hearts, be like, yeah, when one door closes, another one opens. But it's like, stop fucking slamming doors all the time. It's like, stop. Just stop closing doors on yourself. That's what it feels like, is like you took risks and you closed doors on yourself. And meanwhile, lo and behold, like there's all of this beautiful abundance that you are able to create, you have created, that you've manifested, and it continues to be this thing. And you're seeing this now, and you're working through this now because you're realizing like your prayers have been answered time and time again. You have had beautiful, serious blessings show up for you time and time again. So why is it that you're finding yourself in this similar feeling, in this similar situation that you're in currently, when you have all of this evidence that like you can have beautiful manifestations, beautiful things showing up in your life and in your reality? And I think right now you're really tapping into the idea of what is possible when you have someone that you're really able to build with, grow with, be serious about, create a life with. And I think that that's something that you're really focused on calling in. There's lots of ring energy here. There's keys showing up here. And it seems as though when I'm looking at all of these cards, it's like they're all saying all these things, but there's just like this energy underneath it that just feels difficult to address, difficult to feel into. Ooh, and it might actually start to show up like on a physical like way, in a physical form, because it's been pushed down and repressed and not handled. And I feel like you're really trying not to be in that mode anymore. You're really trying to be in a place of healing. I was actually surprised that healing didn't pop out with this reading, but nevertheless, I just see that fire signs may be significant: Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. One day at a time. I can go the distance. Yeah. The waxing moon might be a significant time frame for whatever kind of situation this feels resonant about whenever you're hearing this. But yeah, I think what you're wanting in life is a little bit unexpected. I think you maybe convinced yourself that you didn't want specific things, but now that you've really sat with yourself and sat with your healing and really thought of all of the things that you have called in for yourself, maybe thrown away, pushed away, gambled upon, but you've been able to do this for yourself time and time again. You're having this kind of realization that you need to like let go of that sort of mindset or behavior in order to really have a new beginning where you can call in your blessings and sustain them and hold them and really appreciate them for what they are and the value that they are. And in a way, this feels like, I don't know, like the relationship that you have with your idea of fun may be changing. You may have had a very immature idea of what fun really means, and it could have actually been more of a distraction and a coping mechanism, an escapism of sorts. And now you're just sort of having to come back to a little bit more of an innocent, pure way of connecting to others, connecting to your idea of what you want for a relationship, for something serious. That's what's just showing up, is like you want something serious. You're not worried about the risky, dicey choices that you've made in the past anymore, because you really got into a place of like, yeah, I need to be very serious about this. If I really want the yin to my yang, if I really want doors to open, if I really want opportunities to show up, if I really want a serious, fruitful, abundant, prosperous, stable, all of these things, like that really is going to require you to let go. I know. Can you believe it? I'm bringing this up again. We just spent the entire freaking eclipse season letting go of shit, but here we are again, of you maybe not so much letting go of a behavior or a version of self or anything that deep, but I feel like maybe just letting go of like what your dream was originally supposed to look like. And maybe it's like actually a lot more simplistic or slow or mindful, and you're like, what the heck, like I'm supposed to be this extravagant, outrageous character in the world, but all I really want is like the white picket fence life. Like what? And maybe, yeah, that is what you need, and it is what you want. And in order to have like the kind of union, that serious thing that you're looking for, whether it's in just your community, opportunities, your materials, or a relationship, you have to have your wants and your needs have to be in union. So this is a process, and I think it's something that's unfolding for you kind of like one day at a time in real time, and just being able to embrace what that looks like for you now. And I do want to say that it looks like You have some angels watching over your path, and your prayers will be answered around the situation. It is safe for you to have a very hopeful, opportunistic outlook on the situation, and to believe that like the most wonderful divine things can happen, blessings can show up in your life, because you actually have a lot of evidence and proof of this already happening in your life. So now you're like, these are all the things that I want. These are all the things that I want to call in, I'm feeling aligned with, and I need, and feel really good and abundant to me. But because maybe we have this repeating thing of shutting the door, gambling things away, taking risks, whatever, it's like you almost don't believe that it could really show up for you again, and you could really have that again. But Spirit is saying, duh, of course, right? Like, we're here to be fruitful, honey. We're here to have a groovy time, honey, not to suffer, not to struggle, not to feel like we're being punished. Like, no. You can continue to call in beautiful things. You've done it before. And it's okay if things, your idea of what's beautiful, the things that you want or the things that feel resonant to you have changed. They're subject to change again. This will change over and over. But allow that to happen in its own way, in its own time, as it is for you right now. Because what you're aligning yourself with feels truthful. And that's exactly what you've been working on, is really like being in your truth and staying in alignment with your highest and greatest good. So why stop now? If you have shifted into that sort of space and you're like, actually, when I think about it, I don't really want that thing after all. Don't resist it. Just see what happens when you entertain that sort of space for a little bit. Okay, that's my reading. I'm sending lots of love in to you because I think, you're definitely worthy of it. And you're going to have beautiful things show up for you, things that feel really loving, feel really purposeful, and feel really aligned to you. And the more that you just, again, stay receptive, stay open to your wants, the things that you align with just changing, the easier it is for those things to find their way to you. Okay, so I will talk to you very soon, my friends.